Death is inevitable, but some meet it in ways so cruel, they become legends of suffering. Today on Nightmare Cases, we reveal 10 of the most horrifying deaths in human history. Be warned, these real stories are graphic, disturbing, and unforgettable. From ancient execution methods to modern-day atrocities, each case is a testament to the dark side of human nature. Prepare yourself for a journey through time, where we will encounter the unimaginable. Brace yourself, for what you're about to hear will haunt you long after the video ends. Also known as the boats, scaphism was a method of execution so cruel, it has become infamous in the annals of history. Originating in ancient Persia, this method involved confining the victim between two boats or hollowed-out tree trunks. The unfortunate soul was force-fed a concoction of milk and honey until they could consume no more. The victim was tied between two canoes, force-fed milk and honey, then left to rot while insects slowly devoured them, alive. As the days passed, the milk and honey would cause severe diarrhea, further attracting swarms of insects. These insects would feast on every exposed part of the body, laying eggs and multiplying in the process. The process was slow, agonizing, and utterly inhumane. The sheer brutality of scaphism serves as a stark reminder of the lengths to which human cruelty can extend. In ancient Greece, the brazen bull was a device designed for one purpose: to inflict unbearable suffering. The bull, made entirely of bronze, was hollow and had a door on one side. The condemned person would be locked inside, unable to escape. A fire would then be lit beneath the bull, heating the metal until it glowed red-hot. As they screamed, the bull's pipes transformed their cries into a horrifying music. The first victim? The inventor himself. The bull was ingeniously designed with a system of pipes and whistles. The first victim of the brazen bull was, ironically, its inventor, Peridios of Athens. Vlad III of Wallachia, more commonly known as Vlad the Impaler, is a figure shrouded in both historical fact and legendary horror. His preferred method of execution was impalement, a practice so brutal that it has left an indelible mark on history. Vlad's victims were impaled on massive wooden stakes, driven through their bodies in such a way that they would remain alive for hours, sometimes even days. It's said 20,000 bodies lined the road to his castle once, an image so terrifying it inspired Dracula. The stakes were carefully positioned to avoid vital organs, prolonging the suffering of the condemned. The sight of thousands of impaled bodies was meant to serve as a dire warning to potential enemies and traitors. This horrific display of power and cruelty earned Vlad his fearsome reputation and inspired the legend of Dracula. During the infamous Salem witch trials of 1692, the case of Giles Corey stands out as a particularly grim example of human cruelty. At 81 years old, Corey was accused of witchcraft. When he refused to enter a plea, the court subjected him to pressing, a form of torture designed to force a confession or a plea. As punishment, heavy stones were piled on his chest. He was crushed slowly over 2 days. His last words, "More weight." Corey remained resolute, enduring the agony without uttering a word of confession. These words have become a symbol of defiance in the face of unbearable cruelty. Saint Lawrence, a deacon in the early Christian church, met his end in a manner that was both horrific and deeply symbolic. In 258 AD, during the persecution of Christians under the Roman Emperor Valerian, Lawrence was sentenced to death by being roasted alive on a gridiron. A Roman deacon sentenced to death by being roasted alive on a gridiron. During the torture, he reportedly joked, "Turn me over, I'm done on this side." Even in death, he mocked his tormentors. This act of defiance and wit in the face of such unbearable pain has made him a symbol of fortitude and faith. Lawrence's death was not in vain. His story is a testament to the strength of the human spirit, even in the most dire of circumstances. In 1757, Robert-François Damiens attempted to assassinate King Louis XV of France. The punishment for regicide was designed to be as excruciating as possible, serving as a stark warning to any would-be assassins. Damien was subjected to a series of tortures that lasted for hours, each more horrific than the last. As punishment, his body was torn apart over hours, burned, sliced, and finally pulled by horses. His flesh was torn with red-hot pincers, and molten lead, boiling oil, and sulfur were poured into his wounds, Finally, his limbs were tied to 4 horses, which were driven in opposite directions, tearing his body apart. The brutality of his execution was so extreme that even the spectators, accustomed to public executions, were horrified. The torture of Robert Francois Damien remains one of the most gruesome executions in history. The Iron Maiden, a medieval torture device, has become a symbol of the dark ingenuity of human cruelty. Shaped like a coffin, the Iron Maiden was lined with sharp spikes on the inside. The victim would be placed inside, and the door would be slowly closed, driving the spikes into their body. This medieval torture device resembled a coffin lined with spikes. Victims were locked inside, pierced but not fatally wounded, left to bleed slowly. The spikes were strategically positioned to inflict maximum pain without causing immediate death. The victim would be left to bleed slowly, enduring hours, sometimes days, of unimaginable agony. Whether real or mythical, the Iron Maiden remains a potent symbol of the depths of human depravity. The death of Yukio Mishima. Yukio Mishima, a renowned Japanese author and nationalist, met his end in a manner befitting a tragic samurai. On November 25, 1970, Mishima and 4 members of his private militia attempted a coup at the Japan Self-Defense Forces headquarters. When the coup failed, Mishima chose to commit seppuku, a form of ritual suicide. Famous Japanese author and nationalist, Mishima committed ritual seppuku in 1970, stabbing himself in the stomach. His assistant failed the decapitation multiple times. The entire event was broadcast to stunned journalists, adding a layer of public horror to the already tragic scene. Mishima's death was a complex interplay of honor, nationalism, and personal conviction, but the botched execution turned it into a horrifying spectacle. The tragedy of the Donner Party. In 1846, a group of American pioneers known as the Donner Party set out for California, only to become trapped in the Sierra Nevada mountains by heavy snowfall. As the weeks turned into months, their supplies dwindled and desperation set in. Faced with starvation, some members of the party resorted to cannibalism. They starved for months, and some turned to cannibalism. By the time rescuers arrived, the survivors were barely human. The story of the Donner Party is a haunting tale of survival and the extremes to which people can be driven. It serves as a grim reminder of the fragility of human life and the darkness that can emerge in the face of desperate circumstances. The torture of Junko Furuta. One of the most horrifying modern crimes, the case of Junko Furuta, remains a chilling testament to human cruelty. In 1988, 17-year-old Junko was kidnapped by 4 teenage boys in Japan. Over the course of 44 days, she was subjected to unspeakable torture and abuse, locked away in a house where no one could hear her screams. Her death was slow, cruel, and deeply inhumane. Even hardened officers wept. The brutality of Junko Furuta's ordeal shocked the nation, and left even hardened police officers in tears. Her story is a stark reminder of the depths of human depravity, and the importance of vigilance in protecting the vulnerable. The darkness of human history. Human cruelty knows no time or place. These stories are not just history, they're warnings. Subscribe to Nightmare Cases for more stories that history tried to bury. And remember, the past is darker than you think. These stories are reminders of the importance of compassion, empathy, and the need to stand against injustice in all its forms.